So let's move over now to my second guest for this segment. Who I'm going to speak to now is Bill Mithen. Bill is the CEO of the Give Where You Live Foundation based in Geelong. And Bill is going to share with us a fantastic program that's been running there now for over 50 years, and it means they have a revolving front line. So let me introduce you to Bill Mithen. Hi, Bill.
G'day, Kate. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks for your time today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Good. Hey, Bill, tell us about Give Where You Live. Just give us the short, abbreviated version. What is Give Where You Live and what do they do?
So we're a philanthropic foundation, a community foundation. We act as a change agent in our community, I think. We're looking for social change in the form of helping make all people and all places thrive. So we're really looking to address disadvantage, and we do that through issuing grants, as well as running some programs ourselves in some pretty critical and important areas.
Yeah, and when you say critical and important, it is, actually you can tell me the stats here. What are the numbers of food scarcity? Is that the term for it in the Geelong region?
Yeah, it's getting worse just at the minute. So the last report we produced was a couple of years ago now. 2,000 meals a day are produced by and distributed by the emergency food system here in Geelong. So that's 2,000 meals that are going to people who otherwise wouldn't have that food. That's rising. We did a little census last week, and that's up to at least 16,000. And we're probably not quite counting all the meals, so it's probably closer to 20, I would say.
And that's, obviously that's just one area that Give Where You Live help the Geelong and surrounding community. What I wanted to talk to you about today is another area, which is workplace giving program, and most particularly the loaned executive side of this wonderful program. So I just want to get an idea for how long's the loan. Well, first of all, what is the loaned executive program? Tell me what that's about and why it's up and running.
Well, so it's been up and running for 57 years. So I haven't been involved for quite that long, but I have been involved for nearly 10, and so it's a volunteer program where we ask people from other businesses than ours who are, what once were called executives, I suppose. We don't really use that term anymore, do we? But people from businesses to volunteer their time for us. They come in, we give them a couple of days training on what we do and how we do it, and then we ask those people to go and give presentations to their businesses and their workplaces about workplace giving, which is payroll deductions. So asking people to make a small payroll deduction as a donation to the Give Where You Live Foundation. And once they've presented to their businesses, they then go and present to other businesses which we organise. And so we end up with, the last few years, we've ended up with sort of 50, 60, 70 different presentations happening all around Geelong to businesses about workplace giving and about the Give Where You Live Foundation and about all the work that we do.
And look, the reason that I love this and why I wanted you to come onto a show called On the Front Line is because these people are now your frontline staff, really, aren't they? They are volunteering their time. They go away from the business they work in. I'm glad that you kind of said the executive term no longer really fits who the volunteer is. It's a business will nominate somebody in their team to become a loaned executive. So they're technically loaning their staff member to Give Where You Live for 2 days of training. And that 2 days of training is pretty special. Can you talk about in that training the Seeing is Believing tour? Because I think that is the most powerful way for our loaned executives to represent Give Where You Live when they go and give these talks around Geelong.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the piece of the training that I think most of the loaned execs, as we call them, or the Lexes, get the most out of. And what we do is we bundle people onto a bus and we take them around to some of the organisations that we're supporting philanthropically through grants around the region. And they get to hear firsthand from a different type of frontline worker, actually. So they get to go into a not-for-profit, and it might be food assistance. I know we go out to a place that helps people with addiction as well from different times, counselling services, and we ask those organisations, those not-for-profits, to really sort of get those loaned executives into their workplace for just 15 minutes, half an hour, maybe a bit longer, and
Mm.
tell them all about their work and their clients and the challenges that their clients are experiencing and the work that they have to do. So it's sort of a real eye opener. I think a lot of people live in a little bubble, and
Yeah.
if you're securely in a business and securely in employment, which I know is a bit tricky at the minute, but
Mm.
if you are, then you don't necessarily think about what's going on out there in the wider community. So it's a real eye
Yeah,
opener.
you've totally named it the right thing. The seeing is believing tour. I know that I had the great pleasure of going on that about 3 or 4 years ago now, and I had no idea of the organisations, not only that they existed, which is interesting because that's, I guess, the way they run. You don't know they're there till you need them, which is a little bit sad because we need people to know they exist. It's because there are people needing them now, and the way that we can help is not only through the Loaned Executive program, but by going on a Seeing is Believing tour and getting the staff to understand what's really going on in the pockets that we don't always see. So to become a Loaned Executive, the business nominates somebody. The nomination then is pretty much just a conversation with someone from the team at Give Where You Live. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think we've ever knocked anyone back.
No.
So we're pretty happy to take anyone's nominations. And what becomes quite interesting is we get a real mix of people. So there are some businesses that we've had loan executives from for many years, and they use it as a real development opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And so it might be more of a junior member of staff who come along, and not only do they get to understand what's going on in the community, but they get a real insight into how to put a presentation together, how to stand up in front of people, how to do some public speaking, how to make an ask, and in a different language, a sale.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really useful. And then there are maybe some more senior people who are nominated, and they're at a point in their life and their career where they're saying, actually, it's time for me to give back.
Yeah.
I've had a good go, and I want to actually give something back. And here's a step into volunteering for me, and a step into a way that I can give back to the community. So we get a great mix, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I love the mix. I know the first time that I went along to the Loaned Executive program, and there really was. There's a CEO, and then there's an administrator, who's been in workplace for a couple of years, and you also have a bit of a friendly but well-deserved reward at the end for the Loaned Executive that really not just steps up, because they all step up, but those that really get amongst it and really deploy themselves and their team in their workplace to really champion what Give Where You Live do. And it is an incredible foundation that has been running. How long has Give Where You Live been running itself?
So we were founded in 1954. So what's that
Mm-hmm.
make it? 66
6
years?
years, yeah.
66 years. Actually, it will have just gone, because it was beginning of May. So it'll have just gone 66 years. Yeah. So we've certainly been around for a long time, and the Loan Execs program has been going for 57
Yeah.
of those years, and has been a really key component of our workplace giving program, or our salary deduction program, which is still the largest stream of revenue and fundraising that we do each and every year. So it's a kind of critical component of what we do.
Yeah, so then let's talk about, we can't get these Loaned Executives in a room this year. So what are we going to do to make sure that we still harness the energy of these wonderful volunteers from businesses across Geelong and get them out into the community? What's your backup plan, Bill?
No, we've got one, which is good. So
Good.
we've been thinking about it long and hard, and like many things, we'll go online. We'll use the tools available to us, and I suspect Zoom is one of those things. I wish I'd bought shares in Zoom,
I
but
know.
anyway, So we'll certainly use Zoom. We'll do, I think, the training online. It'll be much more difficult, obviously, to do a Seeing is Believing tour, but we'll be able to do a virtual one. We'll be able to get some of the community partners that we would normally visit to visit us in our virtual, Zoom room,
Mm-hmm.
and have them explain to us and the loan executives exactly what they do each and every day, and the clients that they work with, and what they're contending with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we'll do presentations online, I suspect. I mean, we're a little way away yet from having to give a presentation, and we don't quite know what sort of restrictions will be still in place by then. But we're certainly preparing for the case that we would need to do presentations online. And in some ways, actually, in some ways, interestingly, it will make the delivery of presentations easier because you can do it from your home. So
Yeah.
you won't need to go to a business as long as the business employees are prepared to log on. And we are finding that people are prepared to log on and listen. So there's potential upside for us if we deliver it really well.
I have to agree. I have to disclose, of course, for the last few years, I've been the person that's been coming in and volunteering my time to help the loaned executives design and deliver their 3 to 5 minute presentation in the workplaces. And a lot of the time I spend with them is about their fear of going into the workplace and standing in front of a group of strangers. So I'm with you. I think this is actually going to have more of a take up in the sense of their, not only their confidence in doing it, but they'll be able to hit so many more workplaces.
Yeah, I have no doubt. And I think sort of what's interesting out of this whole period is that I think there are going to be a range of things that we can do, that we will be able to do in an ongoing fashion online that we would never have considered. So we would never have considered to do online presentations for workplace giving in the past. It wouldn't have entered our mind. Um, but I think through, what is it? Sometimes through crisis comes innovation. I think that's what's happening is that
Agreed.
we're suddenly looking at it and saying, actually, this will work. This could
Yeah.
this could comfortably work, and in fact, it may even be better. So
There's those
we'll see.
moments, I know I've had it in my business too, because I do, workplace training. And I mean, technically I'm a face-to-face trainer. That's my bread and butter. Of course, that's gone. But gee, I've scrambled pretty quickly and all of a sudden to online. And straight away I'm starting to think, gee, Kate, why didn't you think of this earlier?
Yeah.
And I think it's because our customers are happy to do it. Whereas before we would have been asking them to do something unique and different. And now they're going, actually, I'm kind of happy with this. It'd be easier and quicker. So I hope for Give Where You Live, this might be more doors opened for your whole organisation.
Yeah, I think it can be. I think if we do it properly and we implement it properly and deliver it well, it absolutely can be and should be actually. So while your first instinct is this is a disaster and what are we going to do and how are we going to do it, it only takes a minute to just to take a couple of breaths and have a think through exactly what you're trying to achieve. And I
Yeah,
think that when you think about that in any business really, but ours
yeah.
is just as much as anyone else's, you think about what you're trying to achieve, then you can still achieve that, but just in a different method. And possibly that method is something that you can still use in an ongoing fashion.
Yeah.
I can see a day in the future where we do a mix.
Fantastic. Hey, Bill, thank you so much for your time. I love Give Where You Live. Obviously, I'm a Geelong resident, and I know that, there is different, across Australia, there is different organisations doing similar things. But if anyone's watching who is an employer in the Geelong region and would like to not only have perhaps a loaned executive explain the loaned exec program and the workplace giving, what do they do? How do they get in touch with Give Where You Live?
So the best thing, you can still ring our office number if somebody will pick that up, or just maybe go to our website, which is
Yep.
givewhereyoulive.com.au, and there are a range of contact methods that you can go through to express your interest, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and please, anybody watching who's interested, have a chat. They're the most friendly people you ever meet, and boy, do they know their stuff. So, Bill, thank you so much for your time today, tuning in from Geelong, and I'll hopefully see you maybe a little closer next time.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. Yeah,
Yeah.
although, thank you very much. This is
Thanks, Bill. So look, just a great couple of guests today. First of all, we had Matt Hale explaining this wonderful triage system that his service, Rising Financial Services, Rising Tide Financial, is bringing for his clients and customers, and Bill Mithen from the Give Where You Live Foundation in Geelong, who have a wonderful loaned executive program staffed by volunteers. I want to thank you all for watching today. My name is Kate Schreck, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Frontline.